For a long time, the environment inside that home was carefully maintained. It was presented as a safe space, a place where everything made sense, and where the outside world was often described as complicated or even harmful. This kind of structure creates a very specific mindset where questioning becomes difficult and where loyalty is closely tied to identity. But even in the most controlled environments, there are always small openings, moments where curiosity begins to grow. And once that curiosity takes hold, it becomes almost impossible to contain because people naturally seek understanding. They naturally want to compare what they are told with what they observe. And in today's world, observation is not limited by physical boundaries. Social media, conversations, and shared experiences create windows into lives that might otherwise remain unseen. And that is where the shift began, because what was seen did not align with what was expected. The images, the energy, the connections, they told a different story, one that felt lighter, more open, and more authentic. And that contrast created a spark. That spark quickly turned into something more, because once a different perspective is introduced, it begins to challenge everything that came before it. It raises questions that cannot easily be answered, and it creates a sense of awareness that continues to grow with time. And this is where the real tension starts to build, because awareness changes behavior, it influences decisions, and it slowly reshapes the way people interact with their environment and with each other. What once felt normal may start to feel restrictive. What once seemed certain may start to feel unclear, and that internal conflict becomes the driving force behind everything that follows, because it is not just about what is happening externally, it is about what is happening internally, the thoughts, the doubts, the realizations that begin to form. And as those thoughts grow, they create distance, not necessarily physical distance, but emotional distance, a shift in perspective that changes how everything is interpreted and understood. As this transformation unfolds, it becomes more visible, not through dramatic actions, but through subtle signs, small changes in reactions, in expressions, in the way conversations are approached. These details may seem minor at first, but they are incredibly significant because they reveal what is happening beneath the surface. And when those subtle shifts begin to align with external observations, the impact becomes even stronger because it creates a feedback loop where internal thoughts and external influences reinforce each other. And this is the point where the structure that once felt solid begins to weaken, because it was built on a single perspective. And now that perspective is being challenged from multiple directions. And the more it is challenged, the harder it becomes to maintain. At the same time, the outside world is watching closely, picking up on these changes and interpreting them in different ways. Discussions begin to form, theories start to circulate, and the narrative expands beyond the original setting. This adds another layer of complexity because public perception has its own influence. It shapes the way situations are viewed, and it can amplify certain aspects while minimizing others. And as attention grows, so does the pressure, because what was once private is now part of a larger conversation, and that visibility makes it even harder to control the narrative, because there are now multiple perspectives contributing to the story, and each one adds a new dimension to what is happening. Inside the situation, the response to this growing awareness becomes a key factor, because how people react to change often determines the direction it will take. Attempts to maintain control may become more noticeable. Efforts to reinforce the original narrative may become stronger. But these responses can sometimes have the opposite effect because they highlight the very issues they're trying to contain. And that creates even more awareness, leading to further questioning and deeper reflection. And this cycle continues, building momentum with each step. What makes this moment particularly significant is that it represents a turning point, not just for the individuals directly involved, but for the overall dynamic, because it challenges the foundation on which everything was built. And once that foundation is questioned, it opens the door for new possibilities, new perspectives, and new outcomes. And that is what makes this story so compelling. It is not just about what is happening right now, it's about what could happen next. It's about the potential for change and the uncertainty that comes with it. As everything continues to unfold, the sense of anticipation grows because there is no clear resolution yet. There are only signs, indicators that something is shifting, and that shift is creating a ripple effect that touches every part of the situation. And as those ripples expand, they bring new questions, new challenges, and new opportunities for understanding. And that is where the real story lies, not in a single moment, but in the progression, the evolution of thoughts and actions that lead from one stage to the next. And the realization that once change begins, it rarely stops. It continues moving forward, shaping the future in ways that cannot always be predicted, but can always be felt. As the tension continues to rise, the situation moves into a phase where everything becomes more intense, more visible, and far more difficult to ignore. Because once a shift begins, it does not stay hidden for long. It starts to influence behavior, decisions, and interactions in ways that create noticeable changes. And those changes begin to attract attention, not just from those directly involved, but from everyone observing from the outside, because patterns start to emerge. Moments that once seemed ordinary now carry deeper meaning, and every reaction, every expression becomes part of a larger narrative that is still unfolding. And this is where the pressure truly begins to build, because maintaining control becomes increasingly challenging when awareness is spreading and when multiple perspectives are shaping the story at the same time. Inside this environment, the emotional landscape becomes more complex because there is now a clear contrast between what has always been expected and what is now being considered. And that contrast creates an internal struggle, one that is not easily resolved because it involves identity, loyalty, and the desire for independence all at once. And when those elements collide, they create a powerful force that drives change forward even when there is resistance. And that resistance is often rooted in fear. Fear of losing stability, fear of losing connection, and fear of stepping into something unknown. But at the same time, there is also a sense of curiosity, a pull toward understanding what lies beyond the boundaries that were once firmly in place. And that combination of fear and curiosity is what makes this stage so critical, because it determines whether the shift will continue or be pushed back. As this internal conflict grows, it begins to manifest in subtle but meaningful ways. Conversations may become more cautious or more layered with unspoken thoughts. Reactions may carry a sense of hesitation or reflection, and decisions that were once automatic may now require consideration. And this is where the dynamic starts to change, because when people begin to think differently, they also begin to act differently, even if those actions are small at first. And those small actions can have a significant impact because they signal a shift in mindset. And once that shift becomes consistent, it starts to influence the overall direction of the situation. At the same time, external factors continue to play a role, because the visibility of the situation has created a broader conversation, one that extends beyond the immediate environment and into a larger audience. And that audience brings its own interpretations, its own expectations, and its own reactions, which adds another layer of complexity, because now there is an element of perception that must be considered. And perception can be powerful, because it shapes how events are understood and how individuals are viewed. And as that perception evolves, it can influence the choices that are made moving forward. In response to this growing complexity, efforts to maintain the original structure may become more pronounced. There may be attempts to reinforce boundaries, to reestablish the narrative, and to regain a sense of control. But these efforts can sometimes highlight the very changes they are trying to contain, because they draw attention to the differences between what is being presented and what is being experienced. And that discrepancy can lead to further questioning, further reflection, and ultimately a deeper understanding of what is really happening. And this is where the situation reaches a critical point, because it is no longer possible to ignore the shift. It must either be acknowledged or actively resisted, and both options come with their own challenges. As the story continues to develop, the focus begins to shift from what has already happened to what might happen next, because the current moment is filled with uncertainty, and that uncertainty creates anticipation. It keeps attention focused on the progression of events and on the potential outcomes that could emerge. And this sense of anticipation is driven by the understanding that the situation is not static, it is evolving, and with each new development, the direction becomes slightly clearer, even if the final outcome is still unknown. One of the most significant aspects of this stage is the realization that change is not always immediate. It often happens gradually through a series of small steps that build on each other over time. And those steps may not always be visible to everyone, but they are felt by those involved, and they influence the decisions that are made as the situation moves forward. And this gradual progression is what makes the story so engaging, because it creates a sense of continuity, a feeling that each moment is connected to the next, and that everything is leading towards something bigger. As the narrative continues to unfold, the importance of individual perspective becomes more apparent, because each person involved is experiencing the situation in their own way, interpreting events based on their own understanding and responding according to their own values and priorities. And this diversity of perspective adds depth to the story, because it shows that there is no single version of events. There are multiple layers, each contributing to the overall picture. And as those layers become more visible, they provide a more complete understanding of what is happening and why. And just like that, the entire Sister Wives story flips upside down, proving that the biggest twists always come from within. And this is only the beginning. So if you want every shocking update before it blows up everywhere else, hit subscribe right now and stay ahead of the drama.